Entrepreneurs Podcast. Have with us Thiefaine, the product guy.
Hey yo, how's it going, brother?
Good. How are you?
So good. So happy to be here. So exciting.
Yeah. Well, you forgot the key word. I thought you were gonna say super. Remember?
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Like super duper exciting.
I love it, my friend. I love it. Well, I want to start by saying I'm honored for you to come on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Seriously, it's a thrill to be here, and I'm honored you would have me. It's like a super honor that you would have me.
But yeah, I really was excited and enthused to meet you and discuss with you, because for me, it's a huge passion when it comes to people that are providing a way for other people to create, right? To develop, to grow, and that was one of the biggest passions behind this show, actually, was to find out about this entrepreneurship world and bring it into the lives of the 9-to-5 people, right? And what you have going here, I'm telling you, there's so many people working 9-to-5 have phenomenal ideas, and they're not going after their dreams. So I'm trying with this type of interview, hopefully we can get them excited and get them out and make them realize, wait a minute, let me talk to Thiefaine. Let me see this product guy. What can we do? And that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I'm hoping for the same thing. And it's so exciting to see people live their dreams and to help them get there. And just to say, it's scary, but I'll hold your hand and we'll go together. And it's so fulfilling and rewarding. And for the success stories, it's also rewarding in the pocketbook, which is amazing.
What would you say? My first question would be, what would you say? First of all, you know what? Before we go to that question, let's do an introduction of what you do. Maybe a lot of people don't. I know you're a famous guy, but I want to make sure that they understand fully what you do, right? So if you want to explain in your own words, please.
Yeah, so kind. Thanks. Well, I've got a podcast called the Product Guy Podcast where we talk about everything physical products. Just today, we spoke about how NFTs are going to help physical products in our podcast, for example, and what that means for the future. We talk about marketing. We bring in entrepreneurs that tell us about their experience, their industry. And the idea is that every part of every episode is informative, insightful, and especially actionable. Behind the scenes, I own a company called Prouduct. I'm one of the 3 founders. And we're the brand behind the brand. We're really an outsourced COO. We found that most small businesses or medium businesses were struggling to scale because they had this operational identity battle. Are we a supply chain company where we have this operational advantage, or are we a marketing and sales company? And ultimately, we found that the most successful businesses are the sales businesses and the marketing, and they build the brand and they outsource the operational support to someone else. And so that's what we do at Prouduct. We work with manufacturers and vendors in the US and around the world, helping source and curate the best products, the best processes to really help businesses grow, thrive, and scale at a very rapid pace that allows them to compete with the big boys. And that's the goal. There's no reason why a business in 2022 can't compete with large businesses if they're using similar processes.
That's excellent niche. It's a well-needed niche.
I think so.
Because, it's an area that entrepreneurship may find themselves struggling. And for you to come in with that hand and holding that hand and provide that service is a great help, right? Especially in that process. Now, you mentioned the big boys, right? The big names. So I know that you have worked with some big names. So can you talk about some of these people and what you have created for them, just so people can get a sense?
Kind of, we do have non-disclosures and things like that with big brands, but I can tell you we've placed products in Sam's Clubs, Costco's, Best Buys, Targets, wholesale, international distribution through Korea. And really, That's not our core business. We're just here to help the entrepreneurs be successful in their business. And so we work with world-class manufacturers in China, Mexico, the US, that really allows them to, once they get their foot in the door, they have the confidence that we can perform. Physical product companies, they do great when they're small, they're in e-commerce, and they're like, yeah, everything's great, we're making money. But then you get down to a table with Walmart, and Walmart's going to say, okay, well, you did 1 million units last year. I need 1 million units a month. Like, are you operationally ready to do that? Or I need 8 million units a month, or I need all of this quality control that has to be done, and all this compliance and all this logistics network. And whether it be Walmart or Costco is irrelevant, but these are big hurdles for small businesses to jump, especially when they've been used to a little tiny operation. And we like to say, why don't we just set you up properly from the get-go, where you're ready to start small, but you've got all the upside and the benefits because you're working with someone, Prouduct, that is already brokering large deals. And so we can get you in the door with vendors that normally wouldn't speak to you. They just wouldn't give you the light of day because you're too small for them. You're not Nike. You're not whoever it is.
So there's two parts of this. So one part, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, one is that, someone can approach you with an idea where you can hold their hand, help them through the stages, find the connections, introduce the connections, get all that into play. And then the second part is someone who already has a product that is successful, for example, and now they need to scale up, they can contact you. Is that correct? Or is there more layers as well?
That's correct. I mean, the majority of our work, if I take all our staff and what we do, 90% of our work is really in ensuring that production of goods is done properly. The actual manufacturing, engineering, setting up, industrial design, that those functions are done well. We'll sometimes consult on branding and marketing or help brands get into the distribution, but really we do what we're best at, and we outsource the rest. What we're best at is manufacturing and making quality goods that consumers want and have a good experience with.
So leaning towards more of the actual product side of things directly.
100%.
So now if someone has an idea in their mind, right, a concept, how would they go about it? What would your recommendation be? Would you recommend them, hey, draw it out on a paper and send me an email, or contact my support? Like, what are the steps with someone just with an idea?
Well, whether you're working with a company like Prouduct, doing it on your own, or working with someone else, there's a few steps that have to happen before you go heavy on investments to really make it happen. And number one is validate, right? You want to validate that your idea either A, functions and does actually resolve the need that you're claiming it does, and assuming it does do that, that your solution functions and does what you're saying it does, that it's desirable. And so the first step, really, even when people come to us, we say, we're glad to take your money. That's not the issue, but we want you to be successful. So why don't you go do some surveys, go do some research. Let's make a prototype or an idea type, we call them, just to make sure that we're going in the right direction. Because if we need to pivot, better to pivot early than pivot hundreds of thousands of dollars later, right? And so that's the first step, to make sure that it works and that people want it. Once you have that, it's about refining the product, making sure that the product is exactly what the consumers want, the way they want it. Why that matters is most product businesses, they know what their product is, they know how it's used, but they forget the user. And the user is everything. The customer is always right. Now, people say, well, that's not always true. Well, I get the exception, but they're always right in the sense that they know how they want to use your product. They know where they want to buy it. They know who they want to hear or have it marketed to them, and what words they want to have it used to. And so once you know it works, and once you know it's desirable, it's about creating that avatar of the end consumer and understanding them, and then saying, let's make an industrial design or design a product with the features and characteristics that function, that are desirable, and that really appeal to this avatar, this consumer that will, customer persona is another word for avatar, that people are going to use. And once we have that, we really have a dangerous recipe for success. I mean, it is going to be super just off the walls crazy. Everyone's going to want it because you've made something that fixes a solution they want. You're making it the way they want it, and you're marketing it where they want to hear about it, and it's available the way they want to buy it. I mean, what more do you want in a super product? That's it. That's the magic sauce.
3 times. That's amazing. You're
welcome.
First guest that used keywords like 3 times. It's amazing. Thank you.
I might end up being a super guest.
You
Watch
already
out.
are, my friend. Already are. You're doing great things, you know. And for all of that information that you just shared, basically anyone just with an idea can approach you. You could start as virgin as that, right? At that starting point with you.
In theory, I mean, yes. The answer is yes, and we do that. Unfortunately, we can't work with everyone. You know, we have the blessing and the curse of being able to choose who we work with, right? Ultimately, our interest at Prouduct is making sure that you have the ability to convert a customer, right? That you can actually sell. And so what we want to see is that this is well thought out, that there's a plan. And if it's new, let's do it. But if this is your first go around, you better have a good plan. When big brands approach us, different conversation. You know, they're more like, this is the target, go hit it, done, right? We don't ask questions. For new enterprises, we tend to do a little more digging to make sure it's worth us getting involved and investing our human capital to make it come true. One of our niches that we're best known for is creators. We work with a lot of digital creators. When you see, for example, many in the audience may know John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire.
Yeah, he was on this show as well, yeah.
Okay, love John Lee Dumas, amazing friend.
Amazing. Yes.
We made his Freedom Journal and his Podcaster's Paradise Journal and his Self-Mastery Journal. And so essentially John came to us and said, hey, you know, I want to create this journal, but I don't know the back end. All I know is I want a finished product that looks like this. And we went through a bunch of different iterations, and he sent us pictures, and I flew to China with the team, and we met with these printers, and we started to just unpack this giant library. If you can imagine, I mean, a print shop with the rollers just going full time, and it's loud, and you can barely hear each other, and you're like, where's my earmuffs? What's going on? And we're just looking at these bookshelves, and we're FaceTyping John. And then finally, my business partner sends him a picture of a holy book, a Bible, that he had on his library at home, on his bookshelf. And he sends it to John, and John says, that. I want my journal to be that. People are setting goals, they're going to achieve it. It's sacred to them. It needs to look and feel sacred. And so here we are in China, we get this book over there, we custom made paper, custom made the binding, custom embossed, custom made the little strap that's in the book, and all these little details that go into it. And so when you look at John's book, his journal, it's a little bit on the pricey side, but it's creating the experience he wants the end user to have with it. And so that's what we did with John. We also worked with Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income to help create his Switch Pod that helps digital creators.
I saw all the promotions for it. Apparently, I heard it's very sturdy.
It's amazing. Did you see Pat stand on it?
No, I didn't see that. Or was it? I saw something where he was showing the sturdiness of it and just the dynamics of it, like the design and the functionality of it. It was unique. It's different. It's not something you get at a store. It seems like a custom solution.
Well, and that literally happened at an event called Vid Summit. It's owned by Daryl Eves, Mr. Beast, and Sean Duras. And they were sitting at the event, and they saw everyone holding these Gorilla Pods. And they're like, we used it. We hate it. It doesn't work. It doesn't actually meet the needs of what the creators want. And so right there on the table, then with my partner Richie, started to just sketch out, hey, these are the features that we need to have, and these are the pain points we need to resolve. Between that and a few months of engineering and 11 iterations, out came the SwitchPod. They're now available internationally in Best Buy, all over the world. Just from an idea. The idea,
amazing.
13 months later in Best Buy. So that's what we get to do. It's fun. I love it. It's super fun.
Yeah, so much fun. I love this stuff. And did you do you help with the sourcing too to get them into all these major stores like Costco and Best Buy?
So we refer out to partners that do that. We found over time, experts are experts because that's what they do best. And so we are best on the product. That's what we do. And then we will introduce you and connect you, no fee to us, to the people that are best at getting you in the stores. Yeah.
That's excellent. And Thiefaine, for budget-wise, someone having an idea, now that we're on a very specific niche, like a creator, and they have a concept, they want to create something, what would you suggest for them to have as a budget, like a range that includes your work, right? Putting it all together, research, mock-ups and development, testing, placement, like the third-party people. What would you say a rough idea would be of a budget?
Well, that's a good question and a very difficult question to answer because every product is very different, right? The journal for John was very, very different than the aluminum SwitchPod for Pat that had months and months of engineering, right? Pat and Caleb, I should say.
Is there
I'll tell you what,
like 10,000 to $1 million, I guess.
The top line is infinite. I mean, you can spend as much money as you want on physical products. For example, you look at Tesla. Well, they made a car that cost them billions of dollars to get to a car, right? But really, most of our customers, they come in with a floor of $15,000 to $25,000 to get to where they're trying to go.
So that's what I'm just trying to understand that, if someone's listening, just to kind of idea, what is that? What does it mean, right?
But I'll tell you what, I also value the flip life. And I think there's plenty of value in saying, hey, there's a product that's available somewhere, but it's not available to my target market. Why don't I do an arbitrage deal and drop ship that and market it differently? And so if people aren't ready to spend $25,000 to $100,000 or $1 million on the product, totally understandable. That doesn't mean you can't start selling today. And you actually should. It's a good way to validate that your idea is good and that you have the ability to sell and market.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. So were you always in business?
Well, I'll tell you what, I went to college in Hawaii for tourism. And I love to travel. I travel a lot with my family. We go all over the world. We have 3 children. It doesn't stop us. COVID's not stopping us. We're going everywhere.
Yeah, I saw.
Everywhere. And I did an internship at the Four Seasons in Bora Bora. Unbelievable property. Unbelievable company. Fortunately, while I was there, I learned this isn't what I want to do. So naturally, I was like, I guess I'm going to become a banker. That's the next alternative, right? I'm going to go from tourism to banking. I got to banking, and after 3 months, this is definitely not what I want to do. And I had some mentors that hired me to help them work. And they said, look, we need someone that speaks Chinese that can just come in and take over our manufacturing overseas and insource manufacturing back to the USA. And I just fell in love with it. And it was like,
wow.
The shoe fits, it was where I wanted to be. And it was a super blessing for me to just fall into a role that I loved and was able to just expand and eventually do myself. I'm not a natural entrepreneur. It wasn't normal for me to quit a job and to say I'm starting a business. I had a baby on the way. We had almost no money left in the bank. I was working for a failing company that hadn't paid me in months. And I told my wife, hey, we're going to go start a business and hopefully we'll be okay. And best decision I've ever made by a mile.
Yeah, that's what my question was next. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because, there is a lot of fear around entrepreneurship and and business, and because of just the sheer fact of so many failures and whatnot. But it's really comes down to the mindset, right? Is what's going on inside of that person. And by hearing people like you and what you have achieved from 9 to 5 into business, and I'm hoping that sparks things into people's lives or into their mind, into their awareness that they can do the same. What is the difference between you, me, or them, right? There isn't, and you're glad that you took this step, and I bet you're branching out. Is there any other ideas that are, ticking that you're going to launch, or any other businesses?
Totally. I'll tell you about a glorious failure of a business. Do you like those?
Yeah, I love failures.
We got into a tiny house business. We found the ability to manufacture 200 container homes a day, where we could custom fab a home in China, 420 square foot home.
But there are other companies, right, that do that right now. I see them.
There are companies that are using containers for modular construction, but you're not seeing people that are basically making a container, kind of like a double wide or something like that, right?
Yeah, there are tons of them sitting around. Like in our factory, we have like 4 or 5 just sitting there for like over 20 years. We just use them as storage.
Well, and so what we decided to do to say, well, hey, what if instead of using old, rusted out, beat up containers that we don't always know what's been in them, let's start from new, let's start from scratch. We went out and found the largest container manufacturer in the world, built great relationships. And they said, look, it takes you 6 weeks to get through the line. Once you're through the line, we can do 200 containers in a day. And that was, we can make the steel, electrical, plumbing, hardwood flooring, like the whole home. And then from that, put on the boat, ship it to the US or to Canada or wherever in the world.
Yeah.
And we built a great system, and it was happening, and everything was going great. And we forgot to find out who our customer was. We spent so much time building out all the capabilities that we never really identified who the end user was. And the consumer, we found out the market's very well developed on the commercial side, but not so much on the residential side. And so we were trying to create a new market in residential. And by the time we were trying to pivot over to commercial, COVID hit, everything shut down. We couldn't get to China. And we were just like, you know what? It was a great success at nothing, but it was a great success. We did what we wanted to do. We just didn't find the consumers that wanted it.
Yeah.
On that side, I'm always looking for ways to diversify. And I personally invest in businesses. When I find good ideas, I'm happy to help them go along. I'm investing heavily in the market, in crypto. I'm very bullish in NFTs. I think the best is yet to come.
Yes. Yeah. Human evolution had just begun. We feel like we are just, we made it, but no, there's a lot more levels of awareness that we have to increase. And the only way to have that is having it with a calm mind. Having calmness in our life will allow us to be more creative. And I'm glad that you're branching off and creating those other multiple sources of income. And that's the key, right? You want to have like minimum 7 sources. And this product idea is great. Ever since I booked this call, I've been thinking, it actually triggers people to think actively, like on demand, like you actually think just to see if there's an idea that you could come up with. And we're hoping that's what's going to happen with people, creators especially, watching this episode and saying, let me see if I can create something, right? And then having that solution, having that person to go to, it's so important. And everybody in the audience can tell here, Thiefaine is a person that's out to serve. You can hear it, you can sense it, you can see in his demeanor that it's not the money, it's about the service. It's about bringing your ideas to life, and you want to work with people that have that passion with you. They have something invested in you as a person, and higher than just a person, and definitely if anyone is interested to get in touch with Thiefaine, he's easy to get a hold of and responds very quickly.
I
That's my
try.
experience.
And I'll add this, a lot of people don't do things because they say, I don't know how. And Ben Hardy wrote a great book. It's called Who Not How. And next time you have that product idea and you're like, I don't know how, it's okay. You know me now. You know your who. I'm your who. I can help you get it to the finish line because I know how. We know how. It's what we do every day, and we want to do it. It's what we enjoy doing.
Yeah. When you work with a company that's coming from passion and what they love what they do, you see it in the quality. And the people that you booked already that are using you and for your services, I mean, to create, these are well-known people that put their trust in you, and you delivered,
Always.
And that's the key. Results, right? It's about results.
Yeah, we like to be results based in everything we've done. It's kind of like we're always under the gun. We always have the pressure, and we like that. It keeps us honest. It keeps us performing. It keeps us hungry, and I think that's something people should look for generally with all their business partners, all their vendors, people that are going to continually strive to make you successful. We're only successful if our customers are successful. When things go wrong, no one wins. No one wants that.
Are there any kind of funding or anything available? Any kind of programs available for creators? Anybody's trying to invent something, create something?
That's an interesting question. So there's lots of ways to raise funding. A lot of the creators we've seen do it to validate. They'll actually go with a Kickstarter campaign for two reasons. Even if they have the money, John Lee Dumas had the money. He actually ordered the books in advance. He used the Kickstarter as a milestone in his personal goal. He wanted to have a Kickstarter do it, and he raised $457,000 in about 30 days, right? That's a really easy one for digital creators because they have the ability to bring the traffic to Kickstarter. And when you bring an audience to a platform, that platform is usually very thankful and in turn helps share their audience with you. So Kickstarter is usually a great resource. There are, however, many companies and entities that are happy to loan. There's even companies out there for digital creators. This doesn't apply to everyone, but if you're a YouTuber, Instagrammer, whatever, that will pay you upfront for the rights of future revenue on one of your videos. And so it's a creative way of saying, hey, I'll sell you the rights to this video, but you'll give me a lump sum now. And so it can be a good way to create revenue that way.
Which company does that?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I'll look it up, but I'll send you the name.
It's okay.
I'll send you the name, but when I was at Vid Summit, they were a sponsor of the event, and they were going around just letting people know, if you're getting, let's just pretend your average video gets 3 million views, and right now it's at 100,000. Well, look, we'll pay right now at a discount, time value of money, and then they'll buy the future revenue from you.
The reason why I was asking, in case somebody in the audience wants to, because the whole purpose of these shows and episodes is to add value, right? To give them some information. So if, by having that name, they could have just, if they needed to, right, kind of connect with someone. But if you could send that to me, I can add it in our show notes when we actually go, when we publish the episode. Right now we're just doing live, right? It's going to be recorded, but when we publish it, we can add it in our show notes. So if anybody needs to, and it's all about service. So if you could share it, if you don't, it's no big deal.
Totally would be happy to.
That's great. Now, we always like to ask our guests what their inner superpower is that got them to this point.
It's an interesting question. I think my superpower is building relationships. It's really,
I can tell,
being genuine, being kind, being sincerely interested in others. And it's helped get me into doors I didn't think would open ever. I'll give you an example and kind of why it started. I'm an immigrant to the USA. I remember moving to Vermont from Paris, city of 8 million, moving to a state of 600,000. And I remember going across the street to play basketball with a boy, and we couldn't speak to each other. Had no ability, and became best friends. And it's really allowed me now, having learned multiple languages, to just learn, even without being able to communicate, how do we create a bond in a relationship? And then you add language and business and all the good things in life to that. And it's really allowed me to build fantastic relationships with manufacturers, the type where they're so busy, but I call them and they pick up and they put us to the front of the line when they can, where they'll do what they can for us because they know I'll do it for them on the back end, always and forever. And so I think my superpower is really just people.
That's great. That's great. Great answer. Great superpower. Awesome. You're going places, my friend, and I'm sure you're going to come up with an invention of your own looking at all these ideas, right? So I'm not going to ask you to share anything, but I don't know if is there something that you're cooking, some kind of invention that you want to share or you can't share?
No, not at the moment. We're always kicking the can, kicking ideas around.
I don't know. I just said something. There's something there. There's some idea you just itchy to bring out. But if you're not, it's okay.
No, not now. Not ready. But when I am, I'll let you know.
Okay, we can do the same thing again, my friend. No problem. I'm always here to serve. So,
what can I do for your community, for the great people that listen to the Super Entrepreneur Show? I mean, I really want them to feel like they're appreciated and loved and have the support they need.
Yeah, you know what? That's so wonderful of you to even offer that in the first place. And I'm sure if anyone was in my position, they would say, no, it's good. It's okay. No problem. If you already have some kind of a free resource or any kind of area they can go to learn more from what you do and any guidance you provide that can help someone in the journey, by all means, share it, share.
Here's what I'll do. We have a webinar that's behind a paywall that I'm going to make free, that I'm just going to give you for your consumers. Give me a couple days to put it together, and then you use it however you want to use it, where Richie, my partner, and I, we did an exclusive training to 40 executives on how to create and launch businesses and physical products. And I'm just going to get that to you.
So repeat that again. So it does what? The last part.
It's a webinar that we taught how to create and launch physical products for executives, and we recorded it, and it's behind a paywall, but we're just going to get it to you. I'm going to get it to you, and you guys can use it.
I have an idea for you.
Tell me.
If you can make some time available, why don't we do a Clubhouse event, and I bring you on as a guest and we get some attention. Have you been to Clubhouse? Do you have a...
Yeah, I've got Clubhouse. It took a while. I'm an Android guy, but I'm on it now.
Well, the Android is always the second
late to the party
platform. Yeah. But it's funny though, the Android I thought has so many more users, but
you would
apparently the Apple is the go-to, right? Even for our startup that's what we're going towards. What I'm thinking is we could do a Clubhouse there under our rooms and talk about product development with creators, get them in there, give them the value. And then you don't have to give everyone a free access. You can just we can ping the link on the top. And then what we'll do is we'll give like 10, for example, free. And then you can, or 5, whatever you feel like. But I'm saying you can just do a certain number and then you can sell as well. You can sell them if you like to people, right? I don't know. It's up to you. We can discuss it after.
Let's figure that out after. But as far as the people that are listening to Super Entrepreneurs podcast, I want them to know that we're here to help and that we're going to give them this webinar. Perfect. I think it's about 45 minutes free. Like it's theirs and they can do whatever they want with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's all about that. If you can do that, we can include it. If you can add a code to it of some sort and you can let me know if you want me to put it in the show notes, we can do that as well. And that'll be a great help to the community. Of course, anything that's provided with so much love, like you are. Thank you so much, by the way. But I'm saying we can even bring the more value out if you have time on Clubhouse as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
Or bring more attention to you because you're doing good stuff. So
definitely would love that.
Great. Final words, any kind of suggestions, recommendations you would like to share with anybody, your 2 cents before we go.
No, I think we had a great chat. Thanks so much for having me. I'll say this for the big businesses that are currently struggling, that are currently buying from China and Vietnam, and that are in the logistics nightmare. You're not alone. If you're looking to pivot out of China to move to other markets, we do a lot of that, helping get people to Central America, Eastern Europe, back to the States, India, wherever you're trying to get to. So if that's one of your pain points, please reach out to us. We are helping literally dozens of businesses do just that and finding great success doing it.
Excellent. That's good that you said that. We do have, 6, 7, 8, 9-figure audience members that could benefit with that, something like that, right? That extra help. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. Great. Thank you again. It's been an honor to have you on the show. Great talking to you. Looking forward to building a relationship, a business growth, a journey together. Anywhere I can help, let me know, DM me on Instagram. That's the best way. And any kind of help or service I could provide to you or anybody that you need help with, or any guests that you need kind of get their message out, you can connect with me. I'll be more than happy to look at that, to bring them on as a guest as well. An audience, how I feel. I love you all. You guys are the passion behind this show, because I know there's so many people, especially me, when I was in a 9-to-5 world, I would look at entrepreneurship and find it very intimidating. Even though I was going after it, I was still kind of nervous. So hearing people like Thiefaine and other guests that we have, it's about providing that injection of energy into your life where you can actually go out and make those dreams a reality. And we want that for you guys. Take the step, get in touch with gentlemen like we have here, Thiefaine, myself, anyone. And again, thank you so much, Thiefaine. It's been an honor and a pleasure. If anybody I find that is need to, for a product or creation of product, or if they want to go on a podcast about products, I'll be in touch with you as well.
Thank you, good sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, my friend. Take care.